All right, let's continue to this now. A controversial businessman and a suspected criminal mastermind known for his extensive government security contracts and alleged ties to a high-level police and political connections, Vusimuzi Cat Matlala, has been transferred from Kgosi Mampuru, the second Correctional Centre, CMAX, on the 21st of December 2025 to Ebongweni Correctional Centre in Kokstad, which is the country's only super maximum prison. The facility is designed to house the most dangerous offenders under the strictest conditions. The move raises questions about prison security, rehabilitation, as well as the broader fight against organized crime. But the big question is, why was he moved? The media statement released by the Department of Correctional Services revealed that given the sensitive nature of security-related decisions, the department will not engage in public discussions, interviews, or further commentary on the specific security consideration underpinning this transfer. Well, to unpack the legal and the constitutional implications, we've now brought in our legal analyst, Elton Hart, to discuss this further with us. Elton, a very good afternoon to you, and thank you so much for your time. So, I mean, when we look at this particular transfer and the fact that the department did not want to engage further with the media in terms of why this specific move, this transfer to Ebongweni in Kokstad, does it suggest to you in any way heightened security concerns? I mean, what also typically prompts such a move, from a legal and correctional point of view?
If one looks at the situation, because he was at Kgosi Mampuru, which is also a CMAX, and now they send him to Kokstad or Ebongweni, which is now a super CMAX, which is like, I think, the safest prison in South Africa. And normally these decisions are taken by the National Commissioner when there is security concerns and the risk profile of the detainee is attached to that. So then for security and safety reasons of the detainee, they might move him to a facility that they can actually keep him safe, because that is their primary duty, to keep them safe, but also to avoid them from actually causing harm to people that might come and testify against them in courts of law, and to maintain good order in the prison. So that is the reasons, and it's all within the scope of the Correctional Services Act and the authority of the National Commissioner for Correctional Services.
Yeah. And I mean, just looking at it being the only facility of its kind in this country, to what extent do prisons themselves, Elton, remain vulnerable to criminal networks continuing from operating behind bars? I'm not saying that's the case here, but just the risk that poses.
No, the risk that it poses is like, it's always like we see on a number of occasions during the festive season, there was raids in prisons, and you would find contraband, you would find cell phones, you would find weapons and stuff like that. And it shows me that the people that's detained, the people that's awaiting trial and sentence prisoners, still has direct connection to the outside world. So it means that victims can be victimized. There's various things that can happen, and I'm saying that happening constantly, but the mere fact that you find these contraband and cell phones in tells us there's a link to the outside world. And for me, it shows then there is not really that you stop this behavior, that people can be intimidated or run their racketeering and whatever scams from inside prison.
Yeah, and just based on, the department's hesitancy in terms of revealing too much, one would understand that there are security implications too. But could this move in any way, shape or form face any constitutional or even human rights challenges, do you think?
They can approach court, but I'm not thinking they're going to be successful. I mean, there was a case like the Prim versus Minister of Correctional Facilities, where he argued on the basis that it's a solitary confinement. But if you look at the prison itself and the risk profile of the detainee, then you match these two. And if in the prison there's only single cells, then you can't really argue and say, listen, yeah, my rights is being, because that's the only facility that can house you with your risk profile attached to you. So that is all the considerations that one needs to check. And one needs to check in terms of Section 17 of the Correctional. Are you denied legal advice? Are you denied of being taken to court? Is your rights infringed? And if none of those, I think then you won't be successful. And I think here, the commissioner is well within his rights and authority, within the ambit scope, within the constitution, to actually house a inmate anywhere, contrary to what the J7, they call it the J7 warrant, can say you must be at Kgosi Mampuru. But the commissioner still, in terms of the act, can still put you in a different center depending on safety concerns, risk profile, security concerns, maintaining good order. And we know it's now public knowledge that Vusimuzi was found in good possession of a cell phone, which means that's contraband. And then because of maintaining good order, the commissioner can make a call and say, I'm going to move you because I see already you've built connections here to have access to cell phones.
Yeah. I mean, that aside and notwithstanding, on the broader issues of correctional facilities, we know that the issue of rehabilitation always almost, crops up. But in the view of that, I mean, does South Africa's correctional system, as it were, have the capacity then to balance, punishment and rehabilitation in cases, not only these cases, but cases that are very high profile in nature?
It's very, very difficult to marry these to rehabilitation as well as the detention. And the thing is, like, you get facilities, and I've worked in facilities like Drakenstein, Maximum B, where the commissioner there, they were doing an excellent job in rehabilitating. But you get also in that same prison, in the other sections, that you get rehabilitation is not on the table because these guys is not interested in rehabilitating. They still continue with the criminal activities that brought them there in the first place and actually expand it. So it's you balance the act, but this rehabilitation is in the sentence, but you also find centers where it's very difficult for the officials to even get this rehabilitation program. Although they put in a lot of effort to get it right, it doesn't always come to fruition.
Yeah, Elton, it's not the clearest of lines. So just as a parting shot in terms of our interview, before I let you go, we know that, of course, Vusimuzi Cat Matlala has been refused bail numerous times. He's now still, of course, held behind bars. His court cases still continue. What are we likely to see in this new year?
No, I think he might take another shot at maybe appealing the bail decision. And then obviously, if that fails, then obviously he can just go up until Bloemfontein at the SCA. If possible, he might get a constitutional angle on it and bring it back to Braamfontein to say why is he being denied bail. But obviously the charges that's against him is serious. And obviously he needs to show now to the court or demonstrate to the court why he feels it's in the interest of justice and maybe even bring in some exceptional circumstances. But I don't foresee that he's going to get bail soon. And he must just proceed with the trial and get it over and done with.
Elton, thank you so much for that. Really do appreciate it. That, of course, was legal expert Elton Hart.